Hey everyone, we are live. This is Arsenal Fan Circle, and I want to say first and foremost, happy second Hanukkah, second night of Hanukkah to everybody, and just want to wish everybody out there who's celebrating happy Hanukkah. So tonight got Darren with me, Darren and Alonso up top, and Sam and Gary down bottom there. So Darren with me.
Good evening.
And somebody's got me. Just give me a little bit under the device there. So
Sorry, guys.
we'll get started. No problem at all. Okay. So welcome, Jill, my wife. Good luck today for the show here. Good to see you all, Melina, and fire up those likes as well. Tony's razzing me. Day late, and Ray still isn't on time. 24 hours on. Yep. Great red card, huh? Really. New face in here, everyone. Mint evening, everyone. Up the Arsenal, and first time here. So yeah, Tony is in the hospital, so he's going to get ready to do an operation, and we wish him well in that. And we all want him to know we're all behind him, and we've got to support. And I just together we stick together as a group, Arsenal fans, and definitely on this channel. Tony's a big part of the channel, so want to wish him best health and best of luck for Monday. So he's going to go through a big ordeal on Monday. So if you're watching this in playback, it'd be really great if you drop a comment down there for him, for Tony, and help him get through this thing. So he'll always have an affinity for Pirates now. So Sam, he was joking. He's going to be, like Pepe, one-legged Pepe. So good to see you, Tony. Good to see you in the chats. And let's get it started. We're on that note. I just want to kind of dedicate this show then to Tony and to wish him all the best. I know everyone will have a word. We'll go around and we'll just say a word about Tony. Darren, you want to start off?
I think Tony's one of the coolest guys on here, so wish him all the best and hope for a speedy recover and chill out with the rest of it. So
yeah. So Tony, if you're watching, I don't know if you can watch it for the rest of the podcast here. We go a little while here, but hope you enjoy this show, and we're going to dedicate this one to you. Alonso?
Hey, Tony, man, stay strong. Keep your head up. And I know we're thinking about you and your prayers, man. Bless you, man.
Sam?
Yeah, I just want to say to Tony, keep your head up, keep your chin up, and stay positive. And wish you all the best. I know you'll be fine. You come through this with flying colours, and just it'll be great to see you on here again soon.
Yeah, just before I go to Gary, Stephen is a spirit animal. Tony's got a message here. I hope everything goes well, Tony. I'm with you, 100%, my guy. Gary?
Yeah, same thing. And just looking for a speedy, a good surgery and speedy recovery. And looking forward to seeing you back on the tube again. So good luck.
Yeah, and when you come back, we're fully behind you. It's a tough one, and know that everyone here is supporting you. Can't wait for Chris Wood and Jay Rodriguez to batter us. Highlights. So Tony, you're in good spirits, and it's good to see that you're joining us tonight. So, hey, let's get started though. Great win in the Europa League. We finished off the campaign, Gary, with our 6th win in the campaign. Just give us a brief overview of what you thought of the game, highlights, lowlights.
I mean, the only thing that I didn't like about it is I wanted more Balogun. But other than that, I liked everything that I saw. Good to get all the young kids out there. Even some of the, Aziz was good to see him out there. That was, good to see that they're looking at the young kids as hopefully the future of the team. So enjoyed that. Balogun showed us, why he should get some more time, why he should, maybe be considered for Premier League games. And also Farrell, same thing. He answered that question. Why? Why? Just the things that we're lacking. It sounds like I think he's got it. So another one. Ainsley also did the same thing, moving up the field. That was nice to see. So the three of them, I think, made a case, for more time in the Premier League. Yeah.
Yeah, Gary, highlights for me was Elneny scoring that screamer, a rocket into the top corner, and of course Emile Smith-Rowe linking up with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and in of itself, Ainsley Maitland-Niles getting a run in the team, and then finally Balogun showing the forward. Like when you see a forward coming to the fore, you kind of see it, you kind of know it when you see it, and he held up the ball really well, demanded that ball from Pepe, and finished with some assurance.
Yeah, their two-man play was really good. I think I kind of mentioned I hadn't seen anything like that in a while from our team. It was good to see them working together, making space and nice cuts and what. So that was promising, and hopefully that's a step forward for us.
And Sam, what did you think of the Europa League game?
Yeah, I agree. I thought it's a decent performance. It's a hard. I suppose it's a hard game to really get motivated for when you've won anyway. But I'll tell you what, the kids played well, right? And it's no surprise that they play well together. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Smith-Rowe, Balogun, Nketiah. I mean, these kids play well together because they played together for many years, right? I mean, especially Nketiah, Smith-Rowe, Maitland-Niles. They've been playing together for nearly 10 years. So. This is why I think it's a very good reason you can play them in the Premier League, because they have chemistry. They're not unfamiliar with each other. It's not like Willian, who's unfamiliar with Lacazette and Aubameyang and the rest of the team. And these kids know how to play together, and that's why I wouldn't be scared to play them. And I can't understand all the people say, no, you can't play them, you have to protect them. Well, they're not 15 years old. These kids are 18, 19 years old. This is the time when they need to play to develop. And you can play them. They are good enough. And they have the chemistry. You see that in the Europa League. So if they could transfer that to the Premier League in any shape or form, we're going to do better than what we're doing now, because at the moment we can't do any worse. That's what I'm saying. We're doing so bad at the moment in the league. Why can't we just try these kids and see if that chemistry transfers to the league? But overall it was a decent performance. A bit not really great to let in 2 goals, I would suppose. It's sort of like makes the result look worse than what it is. But it's 4-2 still good, and we won all our games and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, Alonso, really, really good to see Nketiah getting his goal. He's tenacious up front. Elneny scoring, and Willock scoring again, with connecting with Balogun, and then Balogun finally finishing off the night with a goal himself. And that's 2 goals now for Balogun in Europe, and he's sort of knocking on the door.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's seeing young kids do well, and it'll translate sooner than later. I think they need their chances to succeed, and show what they got. And I think they're more than ready to move forward. And I'm also it was good to see Colin Chambers come back to the team as well, because he was out for a very long time, and so his match fitness isn't quite there yet, but. So it was good to see a returning player come back from injury, especially when he had. So it's good to see, the young players do well, and also I guess him coming back as well gives the team a good look. So very impressed by that. But also getting to see Elneny score those humor is pretty impressive as well. So good for him.
Yeah, great goal from Elneny. Darren, what were your thoughts on the game? 4-2 against Dundalk.
I think it's something that we need to in our first team, definitely. These kids sort of have proven, as most of these guys have said, their worth in the team. They work hard, they work with the team, and the chemistry is amazing. It's that sort of chemistry that we're missing from the first team. There's a lot of creativity that we're missing from the first team that these kids can do. especially with Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe, he'll get the ball to Willock, he'll get him to Elneny. He'll get the ball in. So that's what we're missing in the first team, I think. So, but yeah, I was really impressed by how they're playing. As the other guys said, no, why can't they be playing in the first team or in the Premier League? Give them that sort of boost as well, not just playing at the weekdays, sort of playing more often. So
Yeah, exactly. And Molina said we're missing the wig owner, Stefan, and the assemble. It may have something to do with me, kicking the show 24 hours later than usual. But believe me, it was under the right. I needed to do that. So I'm glad everyone's here tonight. Gary, as Darren just said, the players that are performing on Thursday nights, they need to get into the first team. But what we essentially seen the last month is just Willock maybe getting into the first team, and he doesn't have those relationships with those first team players, and that's something that's going to take time to develop. Unless we put 2 or 3 of these forward-thinking players into the team, and we're getting to a critical stage in the season now with Arteta and his hesitancy to do that. So it's Burnley on Sunday. What does he need to do?
Well, what does he need to do?
What will he do, and what does he need to do?
Yeah,
Will
what
it
does
be
he
the
need to
same
do?
thing?
He needs to put a spark into this team. I mean, the things that he saw in the Europa League, it sounded as if, at least from a little, the interview snippet that we saw, that the crossing that he did in the previous 2 games isn't necessarily what he wants to do, and what he wants is better fluidity between the players, getting the ball, from the back line all the way through to the front. So if that's what he wants, then he's seeing it in the Europa League. It should be easy, right? Put some of those players in together, who have played in that system, which I think one of the things I always said is I felt like he was playing 2 different systems, the Europa League and the Premier League games, and they kind of look different to me, and if the plan is to play the way he does in the Europa League, then maybe, try those players out in the Premier League and see how that goes. I mean, I think there's definitely room for it, and I guess since we don't have Thursday night games anymore, we're going to have these midweek games. I think he's not going to have a choice, because I think at some point he's going to probably have to give some of these other players a rest, because I don't think they can play, 3 games in a week, like, which could happen. So I have a feeling that we'll see a little bit more, and hopefully that's the case. I always kind of feel like, when he wanted to get better games and get a better playing time, Arteta as a youngster made a decision, and he's kind of forcing these kids to maybe make the same decision, meaning, maybe have to go elsewhere to find the time that they need. So hopefully he remembers that time and lets these players kind of showcase what they got. I mean, if Balogun is a player that he wants to keep, he needs to show him why. And Smith Rowe is a player that he's lacking on the field. He needs to show, put him out there. Maitland-Niles, I believe, is a player that can fill any spot he has on the field, so there's probably no reason for him not to play. So those 3 players, I think, definitely showcased it themselves. I think Willock, like you said, got lost. And he goes out there and he just disappears, because I don't even feel like they're looking for him, or, like anything else, we kind of hide ourselves behind the defense. So I think that's what happens as well. So I think, at least those 4 plays, I think it made a case. When Nelson gets healthy, maybe he also will get into the mix. But I think those 4 plays definitely should be on the bench at the least. I mean, I think they would help us out. Ainsley should be on the bench at least for the rest of the season, unless he needs the rest. But we've got enough, I think, to help out. And I think when Martinelli is back in January, I don't expect to see him until then. Then we'll have another player to help out. So, that's what I think.
Yeah, as Melina said, Tony Turner, we will keep you in your prayers. Tony, you're a really kind-hearted guy, and we love you on the panel, mate. So stay strong. Definitely going to continue to send you our strength there. We need our Davy Crockett back. I definitely think I may have to sing to Tony when he does come back.
I'm not wearing a hat, Tony, and I'm not doing the show from my bed. So, you know.
We all have to do something Tony inspired when he gets back, you know.
Do the show from our bed under the covers or whatever. So yeah.
And that's what it's all about. It's a brotherhood. Egal, thanks for joining us. Hey guys, I'm on the board out, and Arsenal back to the top. And Sam, as Gary was mentioning, the Europa League is over now, and in some ways, Arteta is going to be forced to mixing this team up in some way, shape, or form, bringing the kids in some way, helping the first team play. He can't keep it two distinct teams anymore. And as Gary said, and as I said, Willock got his chance, but he didn't really have any relationship with those first team players, didn't have that connection, didn't have that understanding. Do you think things will change naturally, or do you think that Arteta will actually start changing things on Sunday, Sam?
Well, I think Sunday's a very, very interesting game to see the lineup. I do think, unfortunately, we'll see the headless chicken, and I think we'll see Xhaka, because there he is. Hello, Stan. Hello, Stan. Unfortunately, I do think we'll see those same guys again, because they were rested, they didn't play, so we're going to see them on Sunday. And the result on Sunday is going to be, I think it's going to be very important. It's a game we should be winning. Burnley, their results haven't been very good. You see where they are on the table. But, it's going to be that lineup. It's going to be, how does he choose to line up? What tactics is he going to be employing? I think it's going to be a lot of the same as we've been seeing recently. And unfortunately, we know it's going to be a very, very tough, difficult, horrible game. And then after you have to, going forward, as you say, without the Thursday Europa League football, everything then is the Premier League for a while now until February, with all those games coming thick and fast, especially over the Christmas period. It's going to be crazy. He's going to have to start resting players. Surely he's going to have to give some of these kids a chance, just out of sheer necessity, to rest some of the key players. And then maybe if they have a good performance, they might persuade him to play them. But I don't think it's going to be through him wanting to play them. It's going to be through him being forced to because he has to rest players. And then it's up to the boys to show him that they're worth. Because, and again, this is going to be sink or swim time now for Arteta. This is it. He's a rookie. This is his time now to show, if he's worth it or not. If he's actually got the mettle and the mentality you need to do what needs to be done. And so we'll see going forward. But we'll see on Sunday, because we'll see the same players again on Sunday. But it'll be interesting to see after Sunday, going into the Christmas period.
Hi, Stan. Thanks, Sam. How are you doing, Stan? What did you think of Thursday night, and what do you think going into Sunday?
Well, I'm glad that we've come out of the group with maximum points. But for me, some of these young guys that have been doing so well in that competition, I think it's now time to see if they can do the same thing against better opposition. It's time to find out. They've done really well in this competition, but let's face it, a lot of the competition, we should have been winning those games. And it just feels like every game now I'm saying, okay, this lineup's going to be so interesting. It's going to tell me so much. But I really do feel that this next game coming up, how he sets them up, the formation, who he picks, who's on the bench. Because for me, the last Premier League game, before we even kicked off, I looked at the bench and I thought, well, there's no variety there at all. It was just crammed with central midfielders. You didn't even have Reece Nelson on there to give something else in width if you needed it. So it's going to be so interesting for me to see who he goes with, and is he gonna wheel out Willian again? Are these players really mainstays that are just going to get wheeled out? I mean, for me, it was curious that in the game on Thursday, that Elneny was playing in that game and Xhaka wasn't. So, you don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to come to the deduction that, well, does that mean that Xhaka's going to be starting in the Premier League game?
Well, I'm clinging to the hope that after 60 minutes, Elneny did come off after 60 minutes, that would maybe leave him open to play on Sunday. We shall see. Stan, really, it's been interesting for me and Gary, especially to do pre-game shows on Sundays. For the last month, we've been looking and announcing the lineups live, and every week we've been shocked. And Gary, you should see Gary's face last Sunday when he noticed Willian was going to be starting. So, are we going to see the same pattern again, Stan, on Sunday?
I don't know what's telling me that we won't. You know what I mean? I don't see any indication that makes me think, okay, it's going to be a little bit different. I mean, Pepe's still serving his ban anyway, so we know we're not going to see him. So, I mean, that last Premier League game, I mean, just walking out onto the pitch, Aubameyang for me looked like the game was up before his boots had touched grass. So I'm looking at all of these things now. And it wasn't until after the match that Tanner sent me a link to, I don't know if any of you saw, I think it was pre-match, might have been the day before, an interview with Aubameyang being up at the North London Derby. He had like a baseball cap on. I hadn't seen it, and I think it's been taken off of the Arsenal website or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong. But, man, I mean, that looked like a guy that was beaten 2 days before kickoff, whenever that was filmed, So it's going to be interesting this weekend. Very interesting on Sunday.
Yeah, the body language was really, really bad for that interview, Stan, and we did notice that. Just quickly, Stan, since you caught up to us a little bit late, any other talking points from Thursday night's game? Balogun, Elneny.
Yeah, I've not seen a lot of Balogun. I've never watched a lot of the under-23 games. I've heard about him through the Arseblog news when they talk about the under-23s. But from what I've seen of him in his little cameos, I really like what I'm seeing. I like. I'm liking what I'm seeing, and I've seen a lot more of Eddie. And I'm not bashing Eddie at all, but I'm just saying that these are two young strikers, prospects. They could be vying for the one spot. Yeah. But what little I've seen of Balogun, it's exciting me more than what I've seen of Eddie, if you know what I mean. And I've seen quite a bit of Eddie now.
Yeah.
So I'm really hopeful that Balogun's going to get more game time.
Yeah, let's go. Darren, let's get into the first goal on Thursday night. And Nketiah, he sort of hands down that ball, it rebounds to him. But he does really, really well to poke it over the goalkeeper and score the first goal.
Yeah.
Come on, this is a professional live stream, guys.
I'm not part of that.
I was quite impressed with that first goal. It was quite a good goal, sort of good leads up to the goal. So
listen, it's the podcast all about banter, and we're having banter now, so it's all good. Alonso, take that rocket from Elneny. Emil Smith Rowe cuts in from the left and feeds Mo Elneny. And what a shot into the top corner.
Yeah, and that's just knocking all year long. It was like that creativity, that pass, that crisp pass that we've been knocking all year. And it was very frustrating because we know that we could do better than that, and yet we don't try hard enough. And so it's good to see a goal scored by an assist. And it's good to see us playing deep inside the opponent zone like that. And I wish you could do that in Premier League, but it just doesn't happen for every reason, and it's frustrating that we can use a guy like Emil Smith Rowe's talent on the first team, but for a reason, Arteta doesn't think he's ready for it. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Tony said, Stan, you better be working on your swordplay. I'm going to be fighting for my spot back. He's ready to joust you, Stan.
Yeah, I hope you're keeping well, Tony. I don't know if any of our listeners know, but he's not feeling so good. He's in hospital at the moment.
Yeah.
So get well soon, Tony. Thoughts are with you, mate.
Yeah, he did tell everyone in the chat, Stan, and we're dedicating this podcast to him to keep his spirits up. And in true Tony style, it's like directionless and banter full of banter. But you know what? That's what it's all about. You know, we get together, we have some fun, we have some crack about it. Gary, as you want to talk about the marketing side of Arsenal, and since Stan sort of talked about Aubameyang and the promotion of the club, you want to sort of broach this subject.
Yeah, I guess just one thing before we get there, and we're talking about Balogun, and I believe I always say the kids should, answer some of the questions that Arteta has, and I believe Balogun actually did answer those questions, right? We need hold-up play in the middle. He did it. Inside the box, he did it. In midfield with people on him. That's what we want. He made runs on the outside, when the defense gave it, and put the ball in the far corner. That's what we're looking for as well. So I understand it's Dundalk, but those are the kind of movements that we want, right? And hopefully when it does he got his one chance and he put it in, right? That's what we've been looking for, opportunistic players, and that's what he did. So Dundalk, yes, but execution is what we want to see.
What I really liked about that, Gary, is that he really demanded that ball from Pepe, and you don't see that from any of the other players in the squad.
Yeah.
The whole squad, I haven't seen players demanding a ball like that. Not even Aubameyang has been demanding a ball. He really told Pepe, give me that ball now before I go offside. I'm ready. And it was played perfectly into his path.
Yeah. So that was good to see. In terms of the our Arsenal marketing, they spent a lot of time on that, and now we know why the players probably don't practice as well as we expect them to. I mean, they made a really good commercial. The Adidas commercial was like a minute or two. Every player in Arsenal got a piece of that. I mean, it was done really good.
We'd be top of the league, Gary, if it was commercial and marketing.
Definitely. I mean, if we could, if our practices can finish up with a performance like that, I think we'll be better off. I mean, I guess they're timing it right, because we're like, this is terrible. We don't like any of this. So then push out another video, or push out another shoe, or push out a shirt. So I guess they're keeping us engaged, but we're pissed off because the team play just isn't right. So like I said, I think they spent every player in those commercials. I kind of want to see them do well on the field. That's what I want to see.
But can I say something about that? Yeah. So for me, it's kind of nerve-wracking being an Arsenal supporter right now, because you can see how much needed Ainsley Niles is in the right back, right? Or excuse me, left back. It's right back, yeah. But yeah, he's so talented and much better in midfield, and you saw the connection he had with Emile Smith-Rowe. So it's been a hard decision, because right now Balogun isn't cutting it, and so it makes it tough, and it makes it tough because for our plans in the future, to where we really need a backup right back and leave Maitland Niles in midfield, in my opinion.
Yeah, we haven't seen Cedric, right? So we don't know if Cedric is the one to be our backup right now. He may not be the starter, but I don't think Ballorein's the starter that we want to see going forward, right? So at least he needs to give Bellerin some spell, right, on the bench for a little while, so we can see what Cedric has. It'd be nice to see. I mean, one of the things about Bellerin that I kind of was like, okay, maybe that's the case, is that Arteta is the one that has him running all the way up to the final third and never getting back on time, and that's part of the scheme. But then my second thought is, then if that's the scheme, that would mean that the defense behind it should kind of rotate around to support, the right side of the field, which is wide open every time. Right. So I don't, which one is it? Is it him going off the rails and doing his own thing, or is it Arteta missing the point that we need to have some support across the entire field, because that right side is always kind of just wide open for us to take advantage of if you can. So
But
I don't know which one it is.
in my opinion, Xhaka is missing a point though. Xhaka is just not fast enough right now, and Partey's hurt. So who else do you have? And that's why I suggest put Maitland-Niles at midfield.
Yeah.
Because he's faster and more mobile, and
So he's asking players to do what they can't do, right?
Right.
So, Sam, since we're talking about Bellerin, let's get into Bellerin, because you're talking about Bellerin now.
Why did you get that?
Why are you going to give me Bellerin, honestly? Jesus Christ.
All right, Stan.
Oh, sorry.
Me? Oh, I said Sam.
No, well, I did say Sam, but he deferred, so it's easy to say I said Stan.
All right, okay.
Okay, Sam. Stanley. Stand the man, right there. Here's your question.
Like the Brady Bunch, isn't it?
Brady Bunch, isn't it? Like the Brady Bunch and acid.
So Stan, I looked.
That must make me marcher. Bottom right, marcher? No, sorry. Go on. Right.
I looked back at the North London derby, and if I'm being hypercritical, I can blame Hector Bellerin for both goals, right?
Yeah.
First goal, he drifts off into midfield trying to get to Kane when you've got Gabriel and you've got Partey there, and he loses his assignment, who is Son, leaving Son exposed to Rob Holding. That's the first goal. Basically, I'm blaming Hector Bellerin. The second one, he drives really, really forward, and he plays a terrible ball behind Aubameyang. When Aubameyang wants that ball between the goalkeeper and the defender in that corridor, Aubameyang is ready. He's ready to pull the trigger if Bellerin can fit that ball in there. He pulls it behind him, and whatever Xhaka is doing, he's too far forward. He's 15 yards forward. We wanted the rest of the team 15 yards forward, not him. Xhaka is caught out with that out ball. 3 of the players are caught out, and we know what happens with Harry Kane. So is Hector Bellerin our worst right back or wing back on the right side at the club?
See, going back a few games and for most of this season, Hector Bellerin's been taking quite a lot of heat. Earlier on in the season, a lot of people were in the camp that Ainsley Maitland-Niles should be starting. Even if we go back into the transfer when we thought that Ainsley Maitland-Niles was going to go to Wolves, perhaps, a lot of people are going, we should be keeping him. We should be maybe getting rid of Hector Bellerin. And I was always in the camp that, for me, I've always felt that at this club, Hector Bellerin is the best right back that we've got that can work in the back four. I'm not saying that we can't upgrade on him and that we couldn't go out and find a better one, but from what is available, in my opinion, I think that Hector is the best right back at the club. And before, and I said this on Tuesday night, before you jump on me about Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I say that because I believe that Ainsley Maitland-Niles is much better in midfield. And what I've seen of him in midfield, and it's been quite rare, like I said about Balogun, I've really enjoyed that. And I think that Ainsley Maitland-Niles has definitely made a case to be picked to be playing in the midfield at Arsenal at the moment, when there's so much dysfunction going on in that part of the pitch. But Hector's let me down, because I've been in that camp where I've been saying that he's the best right back that we've got, better than Cedric, I think, and better than Ainsley Maitland-Niles, because I thought that Ainsley should be in the midfield. But that North London derby, I mean, if you add up all of the foul throws as well this season, that North London derby, it was so disappointing for me, because at the end of that, Mikel Arteta said that he was pleased to see passion and desire from the team. I didn't see those two ingredients. And there's one person that was on that pitch who should have known what a North London derby means to Arsenal and the fans, is Hector Bellerin. Yeah. He's played in the most London derbies of anybody that was there. He's the guy that should have been leading up to that match, letting the youngsters, well, not so much the youngsters because they're in the academy, but some of the newer players understand what it means. Tell them the stories. Make sure that they understand that this is a game that you have to play your A game. and he was one of the worst players on the pitch. So that was what really hurt. Not only was he so bad, but in that particular fixture. Do you know what I mean? This is the North London derby. He knows the score. So it's really hard now for me to continue to defend him after that. I mean, added to the foul throws. I mean, he can't throw a football onto the pitch. My nan's probably better taking throwing.
I've been doing that all my life, Stan. I've been doing that all my life.
You know what? There's a lot of, but Stan, there's a lot of other players doing the exact same thing.
Oh, there are.
That's what I coach said.
That's showing up. Do you know what I mean? And then on the other side of the pitch, we've got Tierney when he takes a throw in, trying to do his best Rory Delap impression, and just trying to throw it into the box, no matter where he's taking the throw in from. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. We don't have fullbacks that are just like Liverpool's fullbacks, not at all. But I'm going to go to Darren next because we are talking about the number 2, Darren. Traditionally, that's the right back, and right over your shoulder we have a legend here, Lee Dixon. So for Hector Bellerin to follow in those footsteps, it's an ask. It's a real ask. And Alonso said here, to be honest, it's favoritism. Hector Bellerin keeps getting in the team, and we have 3 or 4 of these players that keep finding their way into the team, and it's going to become a real problem if this continues throughout this Christmas schedule, because we have Christmas, and then into the new year, the FA Cup is going to come, and league games are going to dry up a little bit. If we don't improve in these 5 or 6 games coming up, the league games are going to be few and far between, and Arteta will be in a lot of trouble. But Darren, what do you think about Hector Bellerin?
The only thing I do like about him is his pace. I mean, he can run from one end to the other. But he is, because I'm so fussy of who plays at right back. I agree with Stan. I've backed him up for a while, and seeing him how he played against Spurs, it's like, what's happened to Bellerin that we all know that has played well since
the
for
one
a long
that broke
time.
into the team.
Yeah, it's like that's not Hector.
He had pace to burn, and he could play a little bit, but now he just has pace to burn.
But Arteta can't say, "Oh yeah, it was a good game." Well, everyone can see it wasn't a good game, and for Hector to play so bad, why is not Arteta seen? Why is he not seeing that? Why is he not seeing there's something going wrong here? Why hasn't he picked up? But why is he still playing?
Yeah,
every single game.
Darren, to hearken on what Lee Dixon recently talked about this, and he said George Graham would have sorted this out in 5 minutes on the training field.
Yeah, George Graham would not have this. I think Hector would have been gone by now if George was still running it.
Yeah.
So,
until recently,
right? Can I
just until recently? Go ahead, Stan.
On Hector, after that performance in the North London derby, if I was the manager, what I would have done, I would have made him play on Thursday in that dead rubber, and then I would have dropped him for the next league game, and I would stick Cedric in. Because at the end of the day, right, Cedric is supposed to be the understudy or fighting for that position. And if you've got your right back who's out of form, and he's playing so bad as Hector is, then surely that's the time when the guy that's, maybe next in line and waiting for his chance, that's when he should play. Put Cedric in. He's on a 4-year contract. He knows the league, right? It's not like he's come over from somewhere else. He was at Southampton. Stick him in. We're paying him good money. Let's see what he can do. Give him an opportunity to say, okay, maybe I can nail this position down.
And that's kind of why I asked the question. I'm kind of thinking we have Ainsley Maitland-Niles who can play that position, and we have Cedric. And for me, those two players are surmounting Bellerin and his inadequacies. Sam, what's your take on Bellerin? Because I've wavered on Bellerin the last month or so, but that performance in the North London derby when I watched the back, and he's basically trying too hard, Sam.
Well, I think Bellerin for a long time has suffered from. Until recently, he's been good going forwards, but never any good in a defence. Off the ball in defence, he's always been terrible for me because the guy I call him the headless chicken, as we know, because the guy he never knows where he is. He's always out of position. So many goals come through his side of the pitch. He's crosses. He's always from the opposite side of the pitch. Crosses. He's always out of position. He's not marking. He's ball watching. Without the ball, he's absolutely terrible. And for a defender who's supposed to be a defender, he can't defend. So not very good. But where he's had these redeeming qualities is with the ball. The pace. He's had some decent passes. He's had quite a good crossing foot. He does connect quite a lot with his crosses. But that sort of dried up a bit as well. So we're left with, when that doesn't work as well, we're sort of left with a shell of what he used to be. And we're all, we pretty much, had enough of him because, again, he showed yet again his defensive frailties in a North London derby. And again, it's how could he keep playing when goals, he's a vulnerability. The other team will target Bellerin and it will succeed. And, this is why we're supposed to have this genius manager who's the next coming of whatever, Pep or, I don't know, whoever.
Wenger.
Jesus.
Wenger or, Jesus or even, God knows, So, and he can't see that, and that to me, that is worrying. And whether it's down to favoritism or just plain lack of competence, I don't know. But the guy shouldn't be playing. We should be giving Cedric a go. And even for me, Cedric is mediocre. Mm-hmm. He's a stopgap. We need a new right back. We need. I mean, if we want to go places, we need world class backs. We've got in my opinion, we've got close to world class left back. He just needs to develop a bit more. He will become world class. And then a right back. We need a world class right back. Because you need those backs now. Those backs are so important in all phases of play. You need to have those quality backs, and all the top teams have quality backs. So that's what we need to do.
Ray Anderson said he can still remember Grealish bouncing off like it was yesterday. And, I just shipped Wenger and Pep and got Penger. And just think about shipping. Wait till you get this one. I'm going to ship Sam and Stam, and we're going to get Yap Stan.
Hey, he was a good defender.
Maybe it is the second coming of Jesus, because looking back at that other game, we had more crosses coming in than the Vatican. What was the deal with that? I mean, I've never seen us do that before.
Yeah,
but he said so afterwards. That's the thing. He said so tactically. He said we wanted to hit crosses because you're going to create chances. But he doesn't think that, well, if you're just hitting high crosses to people who can't head the ball, you're actually just giving the ball away. That's what you're doing, and that's what we kept doing.
Yeah, and that's another topic that Gary wants to get into in a second, right? The press conference, and he doesn't want to touch that. Hey, Alonso.
I mean, I don't mind talking about it. I mean, I think like anything else, he's got a big chore on him, and he's trying to be right about everything. And you know what? Actually, I don't really want to know him. I don't want him to be perfect because that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he's realizing now that what he said he was going to give us, he can't. And I believe that there's easy things that he can do to make it easy on himself, and he's not doing any of that. If something's not working, he's not changing it. If some player on the field is not working, he's not changing them. If some player who's starting who might need a little break, he's not changing them. Like all these little things, these are simple things to fix, right? If you see something that's not working, you fix it, right? I mean, I always go back to the fact at the start of the season, I always thought we would just stick with a 3-4-3, make sure we're solid there, and then start to mold into whatever he wants, because he only got 4 players or 3 players in, right? There's no way he can change the makeup of the team with just 3 players with what we had, and players that are injured, players that are old, players that don't want to play for him, don't want to play for Arsenal. So how can he imprint, put his imprint on the team? 1, he's never done it before. 2, he doesn't have his players, so it should be an easy thing. Figure out the best way to get these players to work, make it work, and then start, weaning out the ones that don't. He's got a lot of young players with ambition. So
we went through the first 10 games, Gary, and realized they were very, very tough. And I always thought that it would be 3-4-3. It's a formation that worked. It's especially for his first 10 games. He started to deviate away from that, and then he has not played since the Leicester game. We beat Manchester United, do our Europa League win, whatever that was, and we go and play Leicester. Elneny has not played since the Leicester game, and that was not essentially his fault. That ball was dinked into the left back area over Xhaka's head. But it seems like Arteta's reverted back to type with Elneny. I always see Elneny as an accomplished midfield player who makes weight in midfield and helps other players in that midfield. But he's not being picked. Xhaka's being back in preference, Gary.
Yeah, and the question is why? Why?
Exactly.
That's,
we're talking about Bellerin, now we're going to talk about Xhaka, and these are the old favorites that keep finding their way into the team.
Yeah, I mean, another player that if he doesn't play, I would like to see how things look differently without him out there. Maybe see some of those younger players in there. If Maitland comes in there, if that can relieve him, I don't know. But I mean, Maitland can play anywhere, right? So why not? I mean, I think him. We know his defense is good, right? We know he's pretty strong. As far as holding up the offensive players as they try to come through the middle. I believe that's what we need to do. Yeah, it should be easy, right? If something's broken, you fix it. You don't keep gluing it back together and then sticking it back up there and wondering why it's not working. So yeah, get him out. Let's see. And we got to make a change. Like I said, maybe not this game, even though this is probably the perfect game to bring in those youngsters, right? Burnley.
Yeah.
I think Southampton is a game that we probably want to have more senior players if that's where he wants to go. But the Burnley might be a game where he may be able to get something out of it with the youngsters who just come off a good string of games. I think they're rested and ready to play. Right? I don't think they need to sit. So for the ones that can play, they should be able to get out there and you can bring in your senior players later if you feel like you're not getting it. I mean, I don't know. That's the thing. I think we Arteta, during that interview, basically was asked a question, and then the next news person asked, I wanted him to embellish on it, and he's like, I see where you're going with this,
He basically asked him for the Europa League, is this how you would like your approach played to be?
Yeah, and he said, I know where you're going with this, and I'm saying to myself, I don't know where you're going. Can you, because I would like you to answer that question because I actually really want to know where are you going with that. He said, yeah.
He did actually answer the question because Charles Watt said, is this the way you want your approach play to be? And he was like, yes. But then he quickly shut it down right after that.
Yeah. You were like, okay, so you can do it with the youngsters, but the old guys can't do it. But we're not going to put young guys in.
Because, because Stan, he had talked about all the crosses in the last two games. Like you mentioned, all the crosses, right? We've got more crosses than a cathedral. So he said,
the Vatican.
Not even a cathedral, a whole shitload of cathedrals, the Vatican. And but that doesn't make sense when you have players like Aubameyang and Lacazette who want the ball on the floor.
Yeah, it's not like we've got Andy Carroll in the team, is it?
No,
I'd understand that then, But just going back to that Elneny and Xhaka thing, I mean, Elneny has been in form since pre-season.
Yes.
Yeah, he's been in form since pre-season, right? And anyone that's got a pair of eyes can see that right now we're suffering in the Premier League, and the one player that should be playing in the Premier League right now in the midfield is our best midfielder who is in form right now, and that is Elneny. Right now, I know you're laughing. I know.
It's easy, isn't it?
I know. It's like I know Xhaka cost 35 million, and Elneny only cost 5 to 7 million. But right now, from what we have, who is our best midfielder? Tell me somebody else other than Elneny. I'm not having it. He is our best.
Other than Partey. I mean, they are the perfect combination for
me. Partey's not able to play, right? I mean, we may as well bought him in the next transfer window with the amount we've seen from him, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The way that we clamoured to get him and the way he's been used, we may as well not have had him until this next transfer window. But I do not understand how right now in the Premier League you're playing Xhaka over Elneny. it doesn't. I mean, I never went. I haven't got coaching badges or anything like that. But this does not make sense to me.
No.
I never sat next to Pep for 2 years learning my trade and all of that. You know, I've never done that. But come on, man. I mean, you're playing Elneny in the Europa League in a dead rubber game, right? And then what? We're saving Xhaka for what? Xhaka's going to dig us out in the Premier League on Sunday. Is that really what he thinks is going to happen? It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, come on. Help me out. I mean,
Alonso,
what have I missed? What, am I missing something?
No.
Alonso,
we've all seen it. We're all Arsenal fans. We've all seen it. Elneny has played well every time he's played. He has not played since the Leicester game. That's quite a few weeks ago in the Premier League, and it's no coincidence. I'm not saying it's all on not picking Elneny, but it's no coincidence that results have dried up.
So, in my opinion, it's total favoritism, and I think that
Again, favoritism. Again with the favoritism.
Am I wrong? I mean,
no,
it's like,
not wrong. No.
Elneny deserves it, but yet Xhaka's still playing. It doesn't make any sense because what does Xhaka bring that Elneny doesn't? You know what I'm saying? So it's frustrating. It's also frustrating to see William get starting over Reece Nelson or whomever else. So, you would think that Arteta would be smart enough to change that dynamic, but he doesn't. So I don't know why he's so hard-headed and thinking that Xhaka on the squad is going to help him out, and it won't. It will never be. And so, right now, it's just frustrating right now.
So, Alonso, I'm going to hit you up with a question. You have to rate in 1, 2, 3 these players that Arteta is favored towards. I got 3 candidates here. You got to rate them. Who's the most favored under Arteta? Who's the second? Who's the third? Hector Bellerin, Granit Xhaka, and Willian.
I think you want to give them a grading each or by rating?
Who do you think Arteta rates the highest? Who's the first on the team sheet?
I say Xhaka.
Willian and Xhaka are like Siamese twins, according to Arteta. They're joined at the hip. I mean, you can't even get a cigarette paper between them two.
Thanks, Alonso, for asking that question.
Yeah, Willian and Xhaka, right? Who's favored? Who's the number one there, Stan?
I say Willian.
Well, I was going to say something about nudes and a threesome with Xhaka, Arteta, and but I'm not going to say it. So
you said it. Let's get it out. Get out.
Sam, what do you think?
Get it out.
Sam, who's your 1, 2, 3, Sam?
No, I think Willian is his favourite, and you definitely got Bellerin as number 2 and Xhaka number 3. I think Partey goes ahead of him when he's available, and then if Partey's not there, it's Xhaka. And I agree so much with what Stan's saying that Elneny has shown every time he's played he's miles ahead of Xhaka. Yeah. I mean, Elneny is what Xhaka should be. That's what Elneny is.
Yeah.
But he keeps playing Xhaka. I don't know why. It's because he's been captain. He's got a lot of influence, obviously. Arteta went to him when he came in and said, "Listen, I'm giving you another chance. I like you." According to that Kia Drapichan, or whatever his name is, that the famous super agent, he said last week that Arteta asked for Willian and David Luiz. They were his choices. So this is why we keep seeing him all the time, because these are the players he wanted. Mm-hmm. And they're failing. Well, not David Luiz so much, but Willian at the moment he's a big failure, isn't he? And
David Luiz, the guy with record penalties and all that. Come on, man! Don't forget. Do not forget, lest we forget.
All right, Alonso. I'm going to go Alonso, then Darren, then Gary. Alonso, where do you think the ranking is here?
I think it goes Xhaka 1, Willian 2, Bellerin 3.
Okay.
And that's more favoritism towards Willian, of course, and then Xhaka and Bellerin. But I think what Sam said, and I think Stan as well. I think Willian is a lost cause. I think that when he started Arsenal, given him a Fulham game, he's been crap, and so what is Arteta seeing in Willian that we don't see, you know? And I know it came from a free, but his wages are just too high for a player right now. I mean, maybe like what 2 years ago, maybe he deserves that much money, but right now, no, he's not worth that much money either. So it's just very frustrating to see a player who was once good for Chelsea is all of a sudden shit for us, you know. And then Xhaka. So when Xhaka got handed that armband, it was I think Emery's decision to name him captain. It wasn't Arteta, but for some reason Arteta liked Xhaka and continues to favor him over Elneny and Niles. So we're just stuck with him for now, and until he gets moved on, which I don't think will happen anytime soon. So.
Yeah.
And with Bellerin, you know, we had so much hope for him being as captain for Arsenal maybe like a year and a half ago, but now he's just crap now, and I don't think he can handle the pressure of being the right back in Arsenal nowadays. So, you know, and then he to me he has no proper competition either. So there's that as well. So, you know, I'm just frustrated with the three of them.
Yeah, I'm going to give Darren and Gary a chance to rate them. Then we're going to talk a little bit about Balogun and stop talking about dead players here, Bellerin and Xhaka and Willian. Darren, how do you rate them? And how, if you're Arteta, how do you rate them? Willian, Xhaka, Bellerin?
I'd say Bellerin is number 1. Xhaka
Vice
number
captain.
2. And then Willian number 3. But I also
Vice
think
captain, and the winger that keeps on playing.
Yeah. But I think with all this favouritism, it's probably putting more pressure on the players. That's probably why they're playing so rubbish at the minute. Because they're favouritism, because Arteta's relying on them so much. I think that's where they're sort of, you know, it's a sort of lacking of how they're supposed to be playing. There's a lot of pressure from Arteta because there's favouritism, and they're playing a lot more than the others. So.
Well, Ray Anderson has put some method to his madness there. Bellerin hasn't been dropped in the league yet. Willian has played when he's available, and Xhaka has been dropped. So that's the rating Gary Ray's put out.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, if you even look at the way the team is set up every week, unless there's been an injury or a red card, there's no, you know, he's pretty much gone with the same set of players every time. I mean, that's the only time he's ever made changes. I think, you know, William was out and he kind of put Willock in. Willock in, and then, or you know, Nelson hasn't got his chance yet. You know, it just he set up his 11, and I guess he didn't realize that, you know what, you can change it, right? You can change it if it's not working. You know, if 11 players aren't working, you can't change it. He hasn't done that. As far as his favorites, I mean, I really don't want to rank all 3 of them, but I guess I have to, right? So
yeah, because I, as the host, sort of set we wanted.
I'm gonna go in my order, which is the ones I want to see gone first to the ones that I want to see gone least. So I mean, for me, I think Bellerin needs, you know, is his number 1. Xhaka and then Willian is how I have it.
Yeah.
I actually can see something decent out of Willian. But what I see out of Bellerin kind of doesn't help me. Like, his primary role is to play defense. I understand he can do crosses and all of that, and he has some pace. But you're a right back. Unless I miss something, part of your responsibilities has got to be defense. You got to protect the defense, even if you come upfield. You got to get back. You know.
Yep.
So if that's the case, then he's not doing half of his job. All right, and I don't know if there's a position for him on the field that just allows him to do crosses and not come back and defend. So I don't know, especially on this team. I thought everybody was supposed to come back on, you know, and defend. He doesn't do that. Xhaka, I watched the game and I feel like to me he just like disappears in the game. I don't see him do anything positive. Every once in a while he does chase down a player and run him over to get his yellow. You know, that's consistent now. He does that, right? And I think Willian once in a while will show us why, you know, he's worthy. And I think we're using him too much. He's not that player, you know, that we wanted. I mean, I think we may have broke him, playing him so much.
Can we return him? We can't return him, can we?
I think we might have broke him. I do. I feel like, you know, he got here and, you know, I think the bags of money that he's been carrying back and forth every week are putting a little strain on his back, and he can't do it anymore.
He's a Christmas bargain, isn't he? We can't get him back.
Apparently he hates it at Arsenal. Apparently he hates it. And the thing is as well, do you remember me saying some weeks back that I heard that Willian has a clause in his contract, which means he has to play X amount of games. Football with Brownie, he knows about that and all. And when you think about that clause, right, that doesn't mean that I want to play X amount of games because I want to play football. That's about money, because you get appearance money, right? So if he's got a clause in his contract that he has to play X amount of games, that's not to play football, that's to get more coin. And when I first heard my mate telling me about that, I was like, really? You can get clauses like that? Okay. But then after the weeks were going by, there you go, football, Granny, he knows. And the more I'm seeing him getting picked, the more it's giving me more credence that he must have this in his contract, because he's being picked after playing like dog shit.
Yeah, I mean, to me, when I think about that, Ozil has similar clauses in his contract, and for some reason they say, you know what, it doesn't matter. You know, maybe not exactly the same, but he does have, you know, at some point, I'd rather not play him and take the hit, because we're not getting anything good out of him anyway. So what's the point?
But as I was saying, apparently I was reading today that he doesn't like it at Arsenal. He doesn't feel that he's settled, and there's a talk about him, Real Betis coming in for him. And it said they're going to put together a lot of money for him. Why? I don't know. They're obviously more stupid at Real Betis than they are at Arsenal, if that's the truth. But, you know, as the saying goes, if you need to lift to the airport, I'm available.
And we're going to get off the dead players now.
Driving license, but I'll get him there.
Stan,
take him on the bus.
Is football with Brownie one of those in the nose?
He thinks he is.
He's a
thinks he is.
He's a
he thinks he is.
But
he owes me 10 quid for. He thought Partey would stay at Atletico Madrid. So he owes me 10 quid still.
Right.
I like football, man. He's funny, right? He cracks me up. He's a Cardiff supporter, but he's always in the Arsenal chat.
Oh, he's an Arsenal fan deep down. He must be. He must be.
He's a closet Arsenal fan. I reckon he's got Arsenal duvet and pillowcases and all that shit.
Got Arsenal socks on.
Okay, that's for sure. But he's a good lad.
Stan, with Balogun, Stan, we've seen a talent last night. We've seen him show up and do something. If Balogun was going to get Nketiah in minutes for the rest of the season.
Well, the thing is, right, they've got the same agent. They both have the same agent. So
what could he do with the minutes that Nketiah is getting right now?
Well, you've got to think, in the long run, we're probably only going to be able to keep one. You know what I mean? If they both got the same agent, you've got to think that if the agent can move one on, and Eddie Nketiah, you got to think, who was that? Was it Ryan Brewster that went from Liverpool to Sheffield? Never scored a goal for Liverpool. He went for 20-odd million. We've got Eddie Nketiah, who scored about 20 goals for Arsenal. He's just breaking records for the under 23s or under 21s at Arsenal. Like Alan Shearer also broke that record, which is not a bad thing to have on your CV. So, you know, if you're his agent and you've got both of them, you can move one on, get a fee, and the other one, you extend the contract and get a little bit of a kickback there as well. But I think at some point, Arsenal's going to have to make a choice. And I'm glad I'm not making it, because you got to think that it was probably similar to, like, you know, who are we gonna keep? Are we going to keep Oxlade-Chamberlain or Gnabry? What are we going to do? Which one are we going to persevere with? Yeah. Are we going to keep Kevin Campbell or Andy Cole? You can only keep one of them. If I remember, that's how it was, right? So you got to make these choices, and I'm glad I'm not making it. But what I've seen, and I said it earlier, the little that I've seen of Balogun, he seems to excite me more than what I've seen of Eddie. And as I say, I'm not bashing Eddie, but I've always felt from what I've seen of Eddie, I can't say that I'll ever see him as the Arsenal number 9.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the makeup of both players, right, Eddie has to be clinical in front of the goal, and he's not, because he's not going to hold up the play. He's not going to, you know, clear out space for anybody in the middle. So I feel like he needs to be a position. You know, his shots need to be on point every time, right, on frame, and it doesn't seem to be the case.
Yeah, Gary, you've seen the crystallization of that in last night's game. The two different goal scorers and how they got their goals.
Yeah, I mean, and Balogun to me seems like a big, tall striker that we want, right? We keep asking for that. We look at all the other strikers out there, and we try to compare. Do we have somebody that can do those types of things? And we don't. I mean, we do, but we don't have him playing for the Premier League side right now. So if he's the one, I mean, he doesn't. And I think once again, I think these things are really easy. It's a really is an easy answer for this. Sign him up, get him out there and play him like we did with Saka. If you're going to rest him towards the end of the season, so be it, because your player is better than us. But I think it's an easy one. I think it's an easy one. I mean, right now, we're not going to miss Eddie as much as we might miss a Balogun in 2 to 3 years from now.
Yeah.
But can I just say as well, we keep talking about Mikel and having favourites. And generally, when we talk about the favourites, we talk about some of the older players in the squad, the more senior players in the squad. But it does appear to me that another one of his favourites is Eddie.
Yeah.
Eddie seems to be a favourite.
Yeah. Darren, what do you think of Eddie Nketiah and Balogun? We've seen the two different strikers in how they scored the goals last night. It's a perfect example of their skill sets. Eddie will hunt down and chase lost causes to get goals, and Balogun will be there in position to put the ball away.
Yeah, I think they work really well together because it's young, fresh players. They're more determined. They've got more passion and more pace when playing and scoring goals. I think that's what I like about them. So, yeah.
Sam, what did you think of Balogun last night?
He impressed me. He was a lot stronger than I thought he was. I liked his hold-up play. He actually could do that as well, and he had some nice runs off the ball. He's a smart player as well. He's got you can see he's got a lot of good football intelligence in him. He's made some good, smart runs. That run, that movement where he peeled off left there to be available for the goal. He left himself in all that space. That was just real smart movement, and you can see he's got it in him. For me, he's a more complete forward than what Eddie is. Eddie's more of a limited, like poacher type player. He leads your line. He'll toe poke your goals in and score from inside the box. Where Balogun, I think, he can do a lot more than that. I think he can work outside the box, inside the box. He just seems to be the bigger talent for me. He seems to have more, a better skill set overall than Nketiah. But Nketiah is more experienced, right? So it's going to be a tough decision for them to make.
I mean, think about all the forward play that we've had in the Europa League. Which one stood out to you?
Balogun stood out to me. Yesterday,
Willock,
just that short amount of time he played, you saw the way he held up the ball, the smart runs. He scored a goal. He scored two games in a row now, right? I mean, in the Europa League. He's got a nose for goal as well, hasn't he? So he's an impressive talent, but it's so hard to choose because Nketiah has done quite well as well. He's taking his chances as well, so it's a difficult one.
And as good as Balogun's goal was yesterday, he done it all on a pitch that looked like it had just been ploughed by an ox. See the state of that pitch?
Yeah, that was terrible.
I had growing potatoes on there or something.
Shouldn't that be a plus? You're making it almost sounds like you're saying it's a negative. It's a plus, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. He's done all of that. That's what I'm saying. He's done it all. Of it's just been ploughed. I mean,
it's terrible. It's a terrible pitch.
So I'm gonna do a section in the chat section, and I'm gonna go to Alonso and go around the table. Alonso, pick 3 players from yesterday that you would pick for Sunday that you want to break into the 18 and maybe even start a couple in the first 11 against Burnley. Darren.
Oh, me first? Oh, okay.
I'll go to Stan. Dan, pick 3 players from last night's game that you would immediately put into the squad on Sunday.
Did Ainsley Maitland-Niles get minutes yesterday?
Yes.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Irrespective of minutes, players that you believe can break in and do a job.
Elneny,
Yeah.
Maitland-Niles, and Balogun.
Gary?
Yeah, I had Ainsley for sure. Definitely deserves it. I mean, I think I would like to see Emil Sofro get in there. You know, even if he comes off the bench, and if Elneny is, he's healthy, he should play. I mean, if that means that the man with
Instantly improves.
that
Instantly
means
improves our midfield.
yeah, that means that the man with the X in his name gets to sit, then I'm all for it. But I don't, we'll see.
Gary, no, not Gary. Stan. I'm having a difficult time with names tonight.
Gary and Stan, yeah, that's it.
I know.
It's the glasses. I think it's the glasses, right? You can't.
Stan, difference between Xhaka and Elneny is 30 million. We could have bought a Gabriel for that 30 million.
Well, we bought a William Saliba. I mean, this is another thing. We spent 30 million on a defender and we're supposed to be strapped for cash. So what do? We lay out money on a defender who may not actually get to debut for Arsenal for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I mean,
but the latest thing, Stan, is that Arteta feels that Saliba could come into the first team now.
Well, he could be in and around it, right? I mean, surely he could be playing in the Europa League. I mean, last night was a dead rubber, like I say. So could he not have played in that? But he wasn't registered because somehow that all got mishandled. But I'm just chuckling at Steve Denham's comment about our goalkeeper. It did make me laugh. It's a good one.
What about our keeper? He didn't feel me coming. He's like he's just trying to catch a marble.
You're not getting. If there is a heaven, Steve, you're not getting in it, mate.
He knows that already.
He's trying to catch a marble. That's brilliant.
He's Tony's spirit mate. So yeah, it's all good. Sam Greenwood. Who would you pick? 3 players from last night did you put into the squad on Sunday?
So you was after specifically the young players or anyone?
Anyone in the team. The 2 that's going to improve our midfield, going to improve our forwards. Or defending even.
Yeah, so for me, I would go for. Oh, that's so hard. Just 3, isn't it? Because
would you have Balogun?
I would have Balogun. I think he deserves it. I think he deserves. I'd love to see him try it. I think Smith Rowe deserves it as well. He needs to be given a chance. I'd love to see Ainsley Maitland-Niles given a chance in midfield in that position he's playing in midfield. Seems to be doing it very well. So I'd say those 3: Maitland-Niles, Smith Rowe, and Balogun.
Okay, Alonso. And then I got to get Darren as well. Gary, Darren. So many names. I'm having problems with names tonight. Alonso, pick 3 for your squad from last night's game for Sunday. Darren.
Can you hear us? Can you not hear us?
Darren, pick 3 from last night's game that you want to put in the squad for Sunday.
Definitely Smith Rowe. Definitely.
Yes.
Balogun, definitely. And Elneny.
Nice.
Hey guys, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Alonso's back. This has been a weird
so
podcast.
I pick Emil Smith Rowe, and I go with Joe Willock, maybe Maitland-Niles.
Yep. And then Elneny or Balogun.
I think he's on a slow connection tonight.
Oh man!
Yeah. Feed those gerbils some more money, some more food. Get them spinning. Come on.
Put another $1 in the meter.
Well, listen, Tony, this is dedicated to you tonight. So I hope you're. This has got a touch of the Tonys tonight, Gary. What do you think?
Seems like it. Yes.
I think the state of this show tonight probably befits Tony, to be fair.
All right, Stan, let's do it. Pick your man of the match from last night, Stan.
Ooh, Elneny.
Go with Elneny.
Yeah.
Gary?
My man of the match, I believe, was Emil Smith Rowe. Like I said, the one thing that I was so happy about was when I saw him and Ainsley, just having that 2-man game on the left hand side there, and I'm like, I don't feel like I've seen that at all this year, and it was good to see. And nobody else has been able to do that. So I like to see him get a chance to do that on the weekends and hopefully midweeks and any other days that come in from here on out.
Yeah. Urban Ghost, thanks for joining us as well. Alonso, you're man in the match. Darren, you're man in the match.
Smith Rowe for me, 100%.
Smith Rowe. Listen, I'd go along with Ray Anderson. Balogun is man of the match because if Balogun goes on to be the star that we think he will be, I'm going to remember this game when he sort of announced himself. I know he scored before. Yeah. All right. So what needs to happen for Sunday? Let me get back on track here. Stan, does Arteta know his best 18?
Evidently not. You know what I mean?
He really knows his first 7. That's his, barely can't get 11.
He tinkers more than Claudio Ranieri, right? And he's a tinker, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you said what do we have to do for this game on Sunday? The first thing is we need to show up because I don't think I've not seen the first team kind of show up in some games now. Our captain needs to show up big time. He needs to show up, and it's going to be interesting to see whether have we finished with the experiment of playing Aubameyang through the middle? Are we going to sneak him back out as the left winger again? We've done it for a couple of games to appease the masses, and it didn't work in those 2 games. So is that going to be experiment over, or is he going to persevere with it? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Interesting. Yeah, all interesting points for Sunday. And Alonso's dropped out. Okay. All right, let's just do this, and then we'll get into the Premier League. Gary, it's time to kick on. Arsenal versus Burnley. Put up our shell up on Sunday. What do you want to see happen? Obviously, we could keep on talking about what we want to see, but will we see it? What's your confidence level? And I put out a tweet earlier. If we play like Burnley, but Burnley just do it a little bit better than us right now.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at the 2 teams coming in, right? And the last 4 games, they've got 5 points out of it. We've got 1. I mean, if that's not, that's kind of the, should be the other way around, right? But yeah, so they're coming in, I think, looking like they have a plan. They know what they want to do, and they've been able to get some points out of those games. I know they've probably had a lot easier time at it, but we don't look like we have a plan. So that's kind of my issues. We're going to go into this game with what I don't know if we have a plan that, we know what's going to happen. We should be able to, with our talent, be able to, control this game, right? I mean, they've given up lots of goals, but it hasn't actually meant anything to our team. For some reason, teams just, can stop us for no reason at all. We have better talent. We should be able to beat them. If we see the same, if I look at the lineup on Sunday morning when it comes out, and I just exhale, you know what that means. Nothing really has changed, and we definitely need to change. We're not seeing it on the field with the players that he's been asked to do. So it's going to be rinse and repeat. Bears up.
But yeah, someone was asking if it was the liter glass. I was just showing them.
Oh, I didn't read that. I thought you were showing your beer. Here's my beer.
So Darren, we're in 15th place right now. Never thought I'd say that about Arsenal in over 30 years. 15th place. Even if we win, the best we could probably do is 13th. So we're gonna have to put a concerted run. We're gonna have to put a concerted run together. We may be only 7 or 8 points off of the top 4, but we still have to start by getting wins. So what do you want to see? What do you want to see happen on Sunday, Darren?
Not to be embarrassed. The fact that we lose against
Number one, yeah.
Because all my friends,
This really, I feel so bad when Darren said that because it's so wrong. Darren, would you hope for Sunday to not get embarrassed? I mean, bloody. I mean, that really says it all. where we
Yeah.
are.
But in a way, I want to believe obviously that our team can do it because I've got mates who are Chelsea fans, mate and Man U fans. The last thing I want is conversation. Oh yeah, but you lost against Burnley. Well, thanks a lot. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want us to have like a good game, and use some of our young players. I mean, we got Saka. Why can't Saka's one of the young players? So why can't we have one of the other young players? Why can't they play as well?
Mhm,
That's what I
mhm.
don't get. So
All
I'm
right.
hoping.
Let's
Yeah,
do predictions. We're going to do the Premier League preview or review, and let's do predictions for Arsenal. We're going to win, Darren. Going to beat Burnley.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Yeah.
Are we going to beat? We're going to beat Burnley.
Yeah, I think we'll beat Burnley, but I don't think it's going to be a great performance.
Gary.
Yeah. We should win. I mean, I'm expecting like a 1-goal lead. So yeah, we'll get the
Dan,
point.
have we found our level, Burnley?
Right, so Sean Dyche says, "Play Arsenal. If you're going to play Arsenal." I'll just do my thing. Right, are we home? Are we home or away? Are we home or away?
We're home.
Home. Well, this is the thing. I mean, our home form's been rubbish as well, right? I mean,
Yeah, we lost the last three.
I'm going to go for a draw. Because if you remember the last time we spoke, Ray, leading up to this Tottenham game, I think it was 3 games before that, you asked, what do you think we'll get out of the next 3 games? And it was leading up to the Tottenham game. And I said 4 points.
Yeah.
And I remember when I said it, I was thinking to myself, have I been a bit mean there? Do you know what I mean? Am I not? Should there be another point in there? We got 1.
Yeah.
We got 1. Out of 9 points, we managed to get 1. I mean, that's not. I mean, a draw, luckily, maybe. But it really does depend on. If I see Willian and Xhaka and all of that, then maybe I'll revise it to a loss. That's where we are, right? I mean, it's sad, right? And can I one more point as well? We're in a place now where we're playing so many players, and the players know that they're surplus to requirements. They've either got a year left on their contract. Look at Lacazette, for example. Lacazette, if he was being kept around, he would have already been in negotiations. So we've got all of these players that are being picked by the manager, and they kind of know. Mustafi said, remember Mustafi? He's like, yeah, I'm leaving at the end on a free, because Mustafi knows that if we sell him and there's a transfer fee involved, he's going to have to take a hit on his wages. He's being paid very well by Arsenal, Mustafi. But if he goes on a free and he sees it out and there's no transfer fee, when he goes to his next place, he could probably get comparative of what he's on. So we're being held hostage by these players. And not only are we being held hostage by them, we're so short, Mikel's picking them. It's not like when it was Aaron Ramsey. When Aaron Ramsey was going to go on his free, he still played with the shirt on his sleeve. You know what I mean? He still played for the team. It's quite rare. But we've got a handful of players now that we can't rely on them. They know that they're surplus to requirements, and they're kind of calling the shots as well.
Yeah.
I was watching, I think what was it called? The Guns and Yellow Ribbons podcast. And one of the panelists on there, he was talking about kind of the state of Arsenal. And, he's like, I started watching this, 50 years ago. And by the time his monologue was done, he's like, you know what? I can't do anymore. And he just dropped off the podcast. He's like, this, it's not as bad as other times, but it's just the weight of it is just so much. It's just so much, it's negativity and all that stuff that goes along with it. He was like, this is just too much. And that's where we are. I mean, we are hoping to get some points out of a game against the team in 18th place.
Yeah, you told me about that, Gary, and I watched it. And they said he's an optimistic gooner. He's always going to say 3 and 4-0. We're going to win 3 or 4-0. When even I'm adjusting my 3 and 4-0s because I'm optimistic as well. Stan, what's that liter glass there that you're drinking?
Oh, it's an Arsenal glass, but it's not a liter. You can basically get in one of them regular cans into it. So that's not a liter. So.
Right. Alonso, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can you hear me?
Are we gonna beat Burnley on Sunday?
Yeah, I think it'll be 1-0, and the one man gets a penalty and scores off a penalty.
Another penalty. Yeah, I'll go with a 2-0 win. I think we're gonna win 2-0. I really, really hope. Gary and I will probably do a pre-game show and watch for our faces when we see the lineup again, because it's gonna be scenes. Okay. I hope everyone has kind of picked the shock game that they're gonna. If you haven't, you can be forgiven because you haven't been with us for a few weeks. We usually pick a shock upset from the Premier League fixtures, and you're gonna have time because I'm gonna go to Darren, Sam, and Gary before I get to you, and it's just for a bit of fun. But as we preview the games, we do that. West Ham, amazingly, West Ham won today. What I wouldn't give to be the results that West Ham are having, that Arsenal could have those results. They've won 6 games, but Darren, Wolves versus Aston Villa. What do you think of that game, and who's going to win that game? Wolves versus Aston Villa.
Wolves.
And it's not your shock game yet, Sam. Gary.
I think Aston Villa would be able to win that one pretty handily, I believe.
Ooh, I'm going to go for Wolves. I think Wolves will win that game.
All right.
See?
Yeah, I don't think so. But
We're a podcast where we don't always agree, right, Stan? Wolves versus Aston Villa, Stan.
I reckon this is like, this is going to be one of them ones, right? Because Grealish has been in the news, right? With like extracurriculum activities with the big booty and all of that, right? This is going to be one of them games where he's just going to turn it right on. You know what I mean? Probably score a hat trick. And he'd be like, man, you should be doing that every week in your spare time. So I reckon, you know what I mean? I don't think he's one of these players that has a hangover. He's the opposite. It's a little bit like back in the, like with the dentist chair with the England squad. Do you remember? And they was like, oh, they've been out drinking. They're going to be, they've been out drinking before a big game. And then, Gascoigne, scored that quality goal and then they've done the celebration. Yeah. I'm not feeling that Jack Grealish is of that mould.
Well, don't think about it. He scores a goal and then he does his slide.
Yeah.
He does a slide and then he does his head and he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
that was me.
But unfortunately, the other 10 that he's playing with are quite rubbish. So I'm going to go for a Wolves win.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going against me. What's up with that?
And Stephen Denham's gone for Wolves as well. Alonso, what do you think? Wolves versus Aston Villa.
I think it'll be 2-1 to Wolves.
2-1 to Wolves. Kicking off in 9 hours from now, 9.5 hours from now. So we're going to get done with this podcast. We'll have a little bit of a kip, and then the football will start. Sam, Wolves versus Aston Villa.
I think I can see a draw coming in that one. 1-1.
Fair enough. The next game, Darren, Newcastle at home to West Brom.
I think West Brom will win that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like a 1-0. It's not going to be a lot. I think it'll be a 1-0.
I'll go for Newcastle to win that game. Sam?
Draw. 1-1.
Draw specialist.
Yep.
He's doing the pools, Stan.
I'm doing the pools today.
He's going for the score draws, isn't
he?
Gary?
Yeah, that's my upset. So I have I think West Brom will pull this one out and get something out of this game. So
Gary, it's 13 versus 19, and you're picking an upset.
Everything else doesn't look good to me. Have you looked at all the other games? They all don't look good to me. So that one's the big. That might be the biggest gap for me that I can think of because I've chose Man United like 3 times in a row, and today I'll be surprised if they win tomorrow. But once again, they probably will.
So you're going for West Brom to upset Newcastle.
Yeah,
that's your upset. Okay,
yeah.
That's pretty poor. I'm sorry.
Thanks.
That's not an upset. It's just upsetting.
I say that with love. I said that with love, Gary. Stan, Newcastle versus West Brom.
I'm going to go for Newcastle on that one.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Newcastle will win. Alonso?
I think it'll be West Brom. And I think, again, Kieran Gibbs is going to score a goal.
Kieran Gibbs.
Yeah, man.
Is that your upset?
Gonna, right?
That's not your upset pick, is it?
No.
Okay. Darren, the big one, Manchester United versus City.
Ooh.
Who's going to win that game?
I'm going to go for Man City 2-0.
Yeah, they're on a roll. I see Man City winning that one 2-1 as well. Sam?
Yeah, I think Manchester City going to be too much for Ole at the wheel.
They have picked things up recently after having a good start to the season.
Starting to look a bit better now, so I reckon they'll win that one.
Gary's still brooding because I told him it was a lame pick for the.
Yeah, I did not like it. No, you're not my friend anymore.
Derby.
Yeah, I think it might be 1-1 at halftime, but then I think Man City will just finish them off and win by 3 goals. So,
Stan?
But it's funny, this one, because I was listening I Talk Sport on just the other day, and there were a lot of people from Man U were phoning in and basically saying that apparently David De Gea is shit now. They don't like him anymore. They like this young kid. Who's his name? Hutchinson or the number 2 keeper, like a young local lad. They're like, get rid of De Gea, put this kid in. So, I mean, I have no idea what's going on over there. So, Man City, I think, are going to win that because they sound like they have no clue of what's going on.
Alonso?
I say a draw.
Okay.
I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
That's what we call. You see that? That's what we call a Desmond.
Des Lynam?
No. 2-2, right? Desmond 2-2? No, we call that Desmond. That's what it's
Dan's been doing a lot of that this season.
Desmond 2.
Darren, Everton versus Chelsea.
I've got to side on Chelsea because I've got Chelsea friends. I've got to side with them. So I'm going to go for 2-0.
2-0 Chelsea. Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Chelsea are going to be too strong for Everton. Everton seems to have fallen apart a bit lately, even with their they've gone off the ball a bit, haven't they? That midfield, they seem to have lost a bit. So they could pick up form again, maybe not, but I don't think they will against Chelsea. Chelsea are a machine at the moment. I think Chelsea will win.
We're going to get to see the Ancelotti eyebrow then when Everton concede a goal.
Yeah, most likely.
Gary, my friend. Gary, my dear friend. Everton versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
I'm being nice to you again. You see that?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think Chelsea will be too much for Everton. I mean, they might be able to get a goal out of it, but I think Chelsea's just got too much. So, I mean, and I don't know if Giroud starts or not, but he's been on fire, right? So we'll see if he's able to keep that going.
Yeah, you see what actually happens, Stan, when you pick players that are in form, like Giroud.
Yeah.
They score goals, so we should do that over to Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
What do you think about that game, Everton-Chelsea?
I don't know. I think Everton they're kind of fucked at the minute. They started off really well, didn't they? They had Carlo in there and James Rodriguez. James Rodriguez is kind of like their Willian, isn't it? Had a really good first game, and then was like, ooh, and then it's like just gone off the ball. And Carlo Ancelotti, I love him. It's like before, like after the match. They go, right, we need you for the post-match interview. Here, I'll drink this bottle of red wine first. He sounds like, every time, he's just drank a whole bottle of red wine. It's always like, well. It sounds like he's had a whole bottle of red. And I remember a lot of people wanted him to be our manager as well. I actually would have liked that because he's entertaining. And he's quite entertaining. But, yeah, I think Chelsea, I've got to have that one tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, I actually was, when Gary was giving his prediction, I could see the smile in Stan's face, and that's what that was. The Ancelotti and the red wine, Alonso, Everton versus Chelsea.
I kind of like the upset, but I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be Everton 3 and Chelsea 2.
Wow.
I think Iwobi is going to get one in.
Is this your upset? This is your upset game, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Darren, I actually think Chelsea will win that game. It was one of the games I was going to go for the upset in Everton doing that because they've been so bad. You would think they'd come back and play better, but I stayed away from that one. I picked another one. Darren, Southampton are at home to Sheffield United.
I'm probably gonna go Southampton.
Yeah, they're riding high. They scored
1-0. I think about
late
1-0.
goal.
I think.
They scored a late goal on Monday. They're one of those teams up there with West Ham that are flying high right now. Sam, what do you think? Sheffield United only 1 point in 11 games for Sheffield United. Will they do it this
Sheffield
time?
United are in poor form, aren't they? No, I just think Southampton are just too strong for them. You know, with their manager, the way they set up and everything, they do really well. I just think they're too much for a Sheffield United team at the moment. Sorry,
Gary.
yeah, 2-0.
Gary?
Yeah, I think they're 20th in the league for a reason, and even if Southampton has a bad day, they still get Danny Ings. So I think, they're one. So, yep, Southampton with the win.
I mean, Sheffield United, I mean, they had such a great season last season, didn't they? I mean, Chris Wilder. Another one that, in Arsenal, a lot of Arsenal people were saying, when we were looking for a new manager after Emery, I heard his name popped up a few times. I'm sure Andrew the Hinkley Gunner was one that was really big on Chris Wilder. But it's not really worked out so well for him this season. And I don't know if that's because, is it lack of investment? Have they brought many people in at Sheffield this season?
Nah.
Well, they brought that Liverpool kid that we were talking about, Ryan Brewster, earlier. I haven't hardly used him at all.
Nah.
But yeah, I think I don't think they're going to get a result against Southampton. Southampton seem to be on a little bit of an upturn.
Yeah, and now Hassan Hüttl is a coach that is gaining credibility, gaining
One for the future, couldn't he?
One for the future, yeah. Alonso, Southampton versus Sheffield United.
I think I like the Saints a lot. I think they got a good team going. I think since the World Cup's been on, they've been on a roll. I think that you got to give them credit for that. So I think I'll give it the Saints, and I think they'll going to score.
The Saints will win. Okay. All right. The next game is Palace versus Tottenham, and I have picked this as my upset. Crystal Palace at home to Tottenham. I saw what Tottenham did. We'll see. We'll see, Gary. We saw what Tottenham did. They basically told Arsenal, pump those crosses in and we'll deal with them in the air. But they've got a player called Zaha, and they're calling Crystal Palace play the ball on the ground.
You're reaching for straw. That's okay. It's all right.
I'm reaching a little bit. Yes, I'm reaching a little bit, but I think Crystal Palace could upset Tottenham. Gary, what do you think?
Yeah, you're reaching for straw. I mean, I feel like Crystal Palace could come in there and try to get something out of the game, and then I have a feeling they'll get punished for it because I feel like they were held back a little bit in the last game. I mean, playing us isn't a good. I don't think that's a good way to look at a game for how it's going to play out the next time around. I think I believe they rusted in that second half. So they're going to be ready to go, and I think if Crystal Palace does come out and open up the game a little bit, I think
could this be a trap game? Here's another thing I'm thinking: it could be a trap game. They get this big win in the North London derby, and don't go and apply themselves the next game.
Like I said, I don't think this wasn't a typical North London derby. To tell you the truth, I don't think we offered up much to them to make it seem like they. Like I said, I don't feel like they came out of the game like beat up. Like, wow, that was a tough one. I think they had an opportunity.
When Mourinho starts to praise Arsenal,
I hate that.
That's when you got to say.
But you know what? If his team backs it up, then that's what you want, right? So we'll see this weekend. But that's what we want. Our coach comes out and says something, the team's supposed to come up and back him up, right?
Yeah.
They don't do that. So that's when you kind of got the team the way you want. Is when you can say anything you want, and you know what? I got people in that locker room that will follow me.
He's riding the crest of that wave. Against Chelsea, he's like, my players are raging. They didn't get the win. They only drew at Chelsea. And then he's like, well, Arsenal played some good stuff. Arteta's a good coach.
What? Come on, yeah. Exactly. What are you smoking, right?
Yeah. Darren,
I
Crystal Palace versus Tottenham, Darren.
I'm going to upset everyone now. I think Crystal Palace will win this one. I
picked that as well.
I think it's
is
not
that your
being.
upset pick? Is that your upset pick?
Yep.
Okay. Sam?
Well, Zaha's going to have to play down the left wing then, isn't he, if he's going to have any chance? Maybe it might have a bit of a chance against Aurier, but on the right wing against Reguilon, he's going to have no chance.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just can't really see Crystal Palace getting anything out of that game, to be honest. Tottenham are in form. Mourinho knows what he's doing. Kane and Son, combination. No, sorry, I just can't see Crystal Palace getting anything out of it. I think it's going to be another Spurs win, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but I think it will.
Okay, Stan, break the tie. It's a 2-2 here so far with you and Alonso to go. This could be a drop-off game for Spurs. You think they'll keep winning?
I think it could be a draw.
Get that splinter out of your ass.
I think it could be 1-1. 1-1.
Gary, he had the chance to break a tie, and he does that to me.
I've got a feeling about it. I don't think Palace have got enough to win, but I think they might have enough about them to keep them at bay.
And Stan, I got a feeling about this. That's my wife there. So
Big up wifey.
I got a feeling about that.
We hope you're feeling better as well. I know you're feeling.
Are we feeling better?
Hope you're feeling better, Mrs. Ray.
Yeah.
This is Jill.
This is right.
This is right.
Alonso, Crystal Palace versus Tottenham. Man, I'm being knocked off track tonight terribly.
So I too have this as my upset special. I think Zaha is going to give out fits to the Tottenham defense. So I think it'll be a close game, but I think that the Eagles will pull it out. I think it'll be a 3-2 to the Crystal Palace.
That's three of us on, Gary. That's three of us on that upset.
You guys hate me today.
All right. Get in, you Eagles. Come on.
And listen, the Assemble, I'm glad you caught up with us. Better late than never.
Better late than never, mate.
We were missing everyone was missing the Assembled earlier in the podcast, so I'm glad you caught the
We were all here and assembled.
Yeah.
What is the Assembled? Is it a group of people, Stan?
Yeah, maybe it's not one person. They take turns every week.
It could be a group.
They're like the Borg, the collective.
The collective. Spurs going away and hate to say it.
It's like Rotron.
All right, so Alonso, we're still waiting for Sam's upset. We'll get to that one. And if Stan is playing, have you picked an upset, Stan?
No, not yet. It's coming.
Okay, it's coming. Okay. Darren, Fulham versus Liverpool.
I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
Stan, big up yourself, the Assembled. Everybody,
I think this is my shock result. I think Fulham will beat Liverpool.
That's a real Fulham, pick, Gary. See that? That's a real pick, Gary.
I just see Fulham. When I watch Fulham play, I can see lately that there is a bit more to them. And Liverpool, okay, they've picked up a little bit of form, but they've been so up and down this season. They're missing players. Just for me I want to. If I'm going to pick a shock result, I want it to be this one. So I'm hoping Fulham get something out of this game.
Yeah, exactly. And that is second versus 17. So, and that is also Sam's second team. He likes himself a bit of Fulham. Gary, your pick.
Yeah. Not picking a. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, they are playing much. Their form is better than ours. They've got 3 points coming out of their last 4. So, they actually have seen a win in the last, 2 or 3 weeks. So, but yeah, I think Liverpool has more than enough to, I don't. Is Mane and Salah going to play together this weekend? If they are, I think they've been holding them back. I don't think they played together yet. So,
Well,
I think-
Liverpool is where we want to be right now. They've got a multitude of forwards, and they're able to switch them out and still get pretty much the same result.
they've got a structure, right? They can lose. They've lost how many players this year, and it hasn't slowed them down because they have enough. They know exactly where they're going. So this is what you want to have. Like you talked about the squad of 18, right? They know who their 18 is, and they know how to use them the best way they can. So
Yep.
Fulham is still figuring things out, and they may surprise us, but I don't think it'll be tomorrow or Sunday. So yeah,
Sunday.
Liverpool, I think we'll win.
Yeah, Sunday they're
3-0 going away.
11:30, just before us. Stan, Liverpool, Fulham.
I've got this thing about Fulham, not because of the way they play football or anything, but Scott Parker looks like the reincarnation of King Edward VIII, the one that abdicated for the American bird, Mr. Simpson. Google it, Edward VIII, and it's Scott Parker. It is uncanny. But other than that,
I'm visualizing that, yeah.
I tweeted it one time. I think it was the first game of the season. I noticed him. I said, look at this. He's the doppelganger. But Liverpool are going to spank him.
But the only difference is it was about 90 years ago in the 1930s.
Liverpool are going to spank them.
Right. Yeah, you're right. They've lost Virgil van Dijk. They've had problems in the back, but they're still competitive in the league. And, if you're asking me if you want Liverpool or Spurs to win the league, I know who I want to win the league. Alonso?
Yeah, Fulham are going to get blown out, so I get it to Liverpool. I think it'd be 4-0 to the Reds.
The Reds are going to take that one. Okay, Darren, Leicester City versus Brighton.
I think that's going to be another draw. I think.
Yep,
I think that's going to be a 1-1, I think, on that one.
1-1. Okay. Yeah. Sam?
Yeah, I think Leicester will just win that one, just nick it.
Gary?
Yeah, I mean, once again, another team that's below us in the table that's coming in with 5 points in the last 4. So, they're playing pretty well. I'm going to go with a draw for this one. I mean, yeah.
Stan, is this your shock result?
Yeah, it is. I think Brighton might sneak it. I think Leicester have been a little bit inconsistent. And there's something about Brighton that they always now and again have a game in them. And I just go back to, when they done us at Brighton. I think it was it the Freddie Lundberg, wasn't it?
They haven't actually won since then.
Was it Freddie Lundberg's first game? Or was it?
Oh, you're talking about the Emirates game. Yeah, it was his first game. Yeah.
Yeah, and we did. And what was the score of that?
2-1.
To them.
To them, yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. And
I was more thinking about the restart in the game after City when we were humiliated 2-1.
There's something about Brighton that I like Brighton. You know what I mean? There's something about they're one of they remind me a little bit of Sheffield, and Southampton. They're a team. You're seeing a team. They're working for everybody. And don't get me wrong, I can't sit here now and reel off the names of the Brighton players. I think there's 2 that I can reel off, but they're a team, and I got a feeling that they might be able to sneak a result.
Yeah, Mopay and probably Lewis Dunk are the 2 that
No, there's a young one that they've got that came on off the bench when we were.
Connolly.
Yeah, I like
the
that.
Irishman.
Yeah, I like him.
Yeah, he's got a bit of the Rooney's about him, right, Stan?
Yeah, I like that. I think that kid's gonna do. I think he's gonna do quite well.
He's got that tenaciousness in him. Alonso, Leicester City versus Brighton.
I think it'll be a draw. But there's other guy from Brighton that's really good too. Is Victor Papa. He's very good too. He's a Dutch guy, the Dutch international. But I think it'll be close. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. Okay. All right, I'm going to give final words. Darren, thanks for coming on tonight. Really, really appreciate it. It's been a strange but funny podcast. It went way off off skelter at times. Um, Gary and I are fighting about our upsets, and there's going to be some banter about that. But we'll be doing the pre-game podcast, so do join us for that an hour before the lineups are picked. It does seem to be the desperate state that Arsenal is in, that every time we do a pre-game show, we want to see the lineups. We're never satisfied. That's always the case, but it's sort of been backed up by the results in the league that we're actually right about these things. We'll know on Sunday what Arteta is doing. The Europa League is over, so these squads are going to get mixed up now, and I hope he starts picking the right blend of attacking players in particular, and maybe drop Bellerin a little bit for a game or two. It's so vital. Looking at our schedule ahead, we got Burnley. I'll put it up here. We got Burnley. We got Southampton away. We've got a difficult December coming up, and we need to start picking up points quickly. And we need to start with Burnley on Sunday. So, Darren, thanks for joining me. Your final words, Darren? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I don't want any more draws on our games. I'm bored of our draws now. I just want us to have at least 2-0 wins, 3-0 wins, 4-0 wins, 5-0 wins. Just no more draws. I'm bored of that now.
For me, Darren, I think you get commented tonight when we said, what do you want from Sunday's game? To not be embarrassed. I think that's a really, really good final word to say. Not be embarrassed, because as Arsenal fans, we've been embarrassed for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
Maybe you could stretch that out even longer, Stan, right?
Yeah, I'll have to properly stand behind what Darren said, and it's probably been the remark of the night, because I mean, this is where we are as Arsenal fans, man. We're getting embarrassed. You know, I mean, I've basically left Facebook now for a week or so, and I can't go back at the minute. I just can't. It's like a scorched earth for me there at the moment. I can't go back. You know, until things change. You know, that's where, like, you know, a lot of my personal friends and my family are on Facebook, and they're slaughtering me. I just literally have to just run to the hills. And yeah, I don't really have anything more to add than what Darren said. Yeah, we need to show up man for man on Sunday, and please, Arsenal, don't embarrass us again, please.
Yeah, don't embarrass us.
Don't do that no more.
That's a perfect line, Darren. Big up yourself. Alonso, final thoughts?
Yeah. So in order for us to get a good run in, we have to learn how to use our players properly. You know, Arteta has to look himself in the mirror and say, look at what he has to go up against, you know, and then look at his team and say, well, who's my really best start 11? You know, we can all agree that Xhaka, William, and Bellerin aren't part of that best 11. So what does he now do to make that improvement? You know, Arteta has to learn how to have faith in certain players in order for him to succeed, or at least take risks.
Yeah.
And this is the time to do it, is now, because then he'll have regrets. So, you know, moving forward as a fan base, we have to continue to stay patient and just see it through, because I think that some good will come out of it.
Some good will come out of it, but Sam, we have to start, and as Alonso said, learn your lessons here. Harsh lessons we've been learning the last 2 months, especially, to not play. We talked about Bellerin, we talked about Xhaka and Willian. Maybe not play those players and start bringing some of the younger players in. And not only one player, you got to bring 2 or 3 of them in, so they know each other, they know each other's play, and you can benefit from that, Sam.
Yeah, of course. It's about team chemistry, motivation. At the moment, our first team has none of either of those. So, you know, you have to try and bring in some of that we have with the youngsters. Sunday, I think it's going to be a lot more of the same. I think we might be good enough to create some decent chances, maybe, and then maybe take one or two of those to win the game. It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be a tough afternoon. Burnley aren't pushovers. They're a decent unit. They're quite physical. You see their games this season. I've just been looking over their results. They've had a couple of bad results, but they've been very close for a few games. They've been a bit unlucky, and I think they're a little bit better than what their points total looks. So they're definitely going to come to the Emirates and give us a game, and then be a physical side, be a difficult side to break down. So of course we've got to really play against them. But this is sink or swim time for Arteta now. He's got to show he's worth his weight in gold now as this Messiah, this second coming of Bill Shankly or whatever he's supposed to be. It's we've got to start seeing it now. If he's got it in him, he's got to start showing it. He's got to start making these tough decisions.
Yeah,
showing he's got a pair of nuggets between his legs, and start doing some of the tough stuff that he's been until now. He's sort of been riding on that wave of everyone wishing him well, and all we should think drinking all the Kool-Aid, and because he's so elegant with the way he talks and all his intentions and everything. But at the end of the day, the proof's in the pudding. It's the results. It's the way the team looks. It's the selection, and he's been failing on that miserably lately. So let's see on Sunday. I don't think Sunday's going to be the turnaround, but I think the Christmas period is going to force him to dig a bit deeper than he thinks he can, and we'll see how that goes. And I just hope for his sake and for Arsenal's sake, of course, it changes. But I just think it's a bit too much for him. I think it's a big ask for him, but I hope, of course, he can change it around.
Yeah, the signs are not great when you're having a team meeting and you don't really get the result that you get from the North London Derby. You got some effort, but I didn't think.
Well, there's so many signs going against. I just want to finish off with this point. There's so many signs going against him. Like Stan said the other night on a podcast I was watching, you said he was so right. You said that how many managers survive a clear the air meeting with your players and all that. You're already at that stage. It's not good, and it's all this. I think he's had good intentions. He's had good ideas. The guy's a smart guy, an intelligent guy. He's done a lot of good coaching. But when you're a manager, and he's been made first team manager, you're the head honcho. The buck stops with you. It's a whole different ball game. Yeah. It really is, and that's pressure, and it's on your shoulders, and you've got to show what you're doing. And unfortunately, he's not. And it's all these things like the non-negotiables, all this that he's not delivering on. He's showing favourites. So it's all sort of crumbling in on him, and I think this is where the dressing room is potentially, being lost here. So
yeah, I think
it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
He's losing the dressing room with the senior players, so it's even more of a case for me to sort of start blooding the younger players. And Sam, real quick, your prediction on Cardiff Swansea for Brownie.
Cardiff Swansea. Listen, I have no clue about those teams. I know Brownie's a mad Cardiff support. They're in good form. They won, 3 or 4 in a row now? But it's a derby game, so I suppose it's the same type of thing, right? So all form goes out the window and all that. So I'm going to say, I don't know. I'll probably go safe and say it's going to be a draw.
All right, Gary, you get the last word around here.
Yeah. So, a couple of things. Arteta, it's going to make it easy on yourself. You talked a big game when you started up. You need to, put up and shut up right now. You need to, all those things we talked about doing. The only way you're going to do that is, I think, one step at a time. There was, There was a video out from Robert Percy, and he was talking about, one of the reasons why he left. And the only thing that Arsenal could sell him on was that we had a lot of money in the bank, something like that. So, that's
good business model.
that didn't really help the cause. And
doesn't put medals in your pocket.
So, if he wants to get a trophy, then he's make it easy on yourself. Make it easy on yourself. You see something, you fix it. That's what I hope to see. Also, since this is the start of the December period, and we know that the games are going to get tough, he's going to have to lean on those youngsters.
Yeah.
Tonight, Sunday is a day to lean on the youngsters because they're coming in feeling good about themselves, Some of them, need to get informed because they're going to be asked to play. I have no doubt about it. We're going to have a lot of old players going through these games. There's no way they're going to be able to make the run through those games. Not informed. If not informed, they're not. We're not informed.
To get
Those
through
guys
the schedule.
Yeah, but if you're in the Europa League, you actually felt wins. You know what wins feel like. We haven't won in 4 games. We're playing a team that just, has got 5 games coming in, so they're on form as far as Premier League goes. Doesn't matter who you play, we know that. So make it easier on yourself, Arteta, and
Well, what we have, Gary, what we have is 6 games in 16 days.
Yeah. So he's
Starting
gonna
on Sunday.
so you got to lean on those youngsters. I believe they can come in and do some work. I believe they can. So lean on them because we're gonna need it. We're gonna need them anyways. And if they might show you something. Come on.
Yeah.
But give a little trust to them. They're trusting you if they sign a contract, or if you want them to sign a contract, you got to show that as well. So, Balogun hopefully plays some during this this time period. If not, I can't see him wanting to stay if we don't see it much.
Yeah, we got to start playing Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Balogun. These players who are going to start losing interest in the team.
I mean, those are players that teams wanted Ainsley, right? So
yeah, Wolves did. It's time to kick on now. We've had a lot of false dawns in the last few weeks, but it's time to start stringing some games together. I've just sort of gone through the notes here. 6 games in 16 days. That's pretty much a game every 3 days here. And we have got an EFL Cup game with City at home as well. The only saving grace is 4 of those games are at home. I would normally say that's a saving grace, but we've lost our last 3 games at home. But listen, we'll see what happens. I want to thank Darren and Sam up top for joining. Alonso, Stan, and Gary, 3 at the back here. That makes Sam, David, Louise.
Big shout out to Tony as well, right? Send love to
Tony.
Tony's in a bad way. He's in hospital at the moment, right? So send a lot of love out to Tony.
Yeah, I was going to actually say that as well to reinforce that as well.
All the best, mate.
Listen, I know everyone watches the show. They enjoy the show. But if you enjoyed the show and if you want to send a note to Tony, drop it down in the comments down below. Send him a note. Tell him you're thinking about him because he's going to go through a difficult operation. He's going to have his leg amputated, his foot amputated. So, we're all behind him here. We're all giving him best wishes. Going to be on Monday, and give him some love over the weekend when you're watching this on playback. And hopefully Arsenal can do their part as well, and in their small part, give him 3 points to feel happy about. Maybe even Callum Chambers will play as well and score the winning goal. One of his favorite players. Granit Xhaka won't play. Tony, we're gonna pray Granit Xhaka does not play, right, Tony? Because you do want to go into that feeling in best of spirits. But
yeah, you're making me smile, and that's not good because I know how I'm going to feel on Sunday after morning. I just disappointed. It's like you come down. Santa Claus is supposed to bring you, the best, the bike, and you get down there and it's a skateboard that's broken in half or something.
Broken skateboard.
Thanks for your wishes, everyone. Prayers and thoughts.
That's rough.
Yeah,
rough on Gary's Christmas, man.
Huh?
And we're beating up on Gary a little bit.
I'm not going to Gary's at Christmas, man. It sounds rough.
That's never happened in my house. That's never happened at my house.
And see how happy Gary is now. If you go back to Sunday when Willian was announced, you can see the exact opposite face.
Oh God!
Yeah.
It's so disgusting. Thanks for joining, everyone. I know it's late there, Sam. I know it's late in the UK and everywhere around the world. People watching live. Darren too from Wales. Stan's got it easy. It's like he's going to go and watch a movie or do something now. I don't know.
I'm going to go watch EastEnders. It's EastEnders.
Rest in peace, Barbara Windsor, by the way.
Yeah, that's
more like rest in peace, Ian Beale, if you're watching. Yeah. Ian Beale's not going for a good time at the minute.
Yeah, it was a tiny Lister also, right? Yeah.
I'm going back on FIFA. I'm going back on FIFA.
Yeah,
what happened to Tiny Lister?
Yeah,
He died yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, he died.
yeah.
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah.
What, Zeus, the human wrecking machine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on Nobody's Watch at Hulk Hogan
Wow. Was that today?
yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Big shout out to everybody in the chat section as well. I mean, you guys make the show as well, and you know, you're a big part of it as well. And your wishes for Tony is going to really, really help him as well. And yeah, rest in peace, Babs, as well. You grew up watching those Carry On movies as well, Stan, right?
Oh, hang on, a little bit behind. Hang on. You're telling me that Barbara Windsor's died as well?
Yeah.
I thought she was already dead.
She died today.
Wow.
Alzheimer's. He's Alzheimer's, right?
And Tony was there and Barbara
2020 is not wasting it.
See, I'm not on Facebook. I don't know anything anymore. I've left Facebook. This is why I don't know anything. I'm in a cocoon. Wow, okay, I'm going to watch a Carry On film tonight in tribute to Babs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ooh.
Well, I'm going back on fever. I'm back on fever in a minute. So.
All right. So, all right. Listen, we'll roll it up there. I could leave it running. We'll just keep talking until Sunday, but we can't do that. Sam, go to bed. Darren, go play FIFA. Stan, go watch EastEnders. Alonso, what are you doing?
I'm gonna wash clothes, man. I work tomorrow morning, so I'll be holding off. But yeah, probably watch a movie.
All right, Gary, what are you doing next?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna watch. I you know what I did? I was talking to someone and they told me that El Salk, is that how you say it? The nickname? Anelka, he's got his video that came up. Huh?
Good.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
Nice to watch. It's quite
Yeah,
good.
it came out on Netflix, so I downloaded that to my phone. So I'll probably watch some of that.
Yeah, it's
That's
really
a good
good.
watch, Gary. That's a good watch.
Yeah.
Stephen, thanks for joining us. Thanks, everyone. Urban Ghost, Melina, The Assembled, Ray Anderson. Listen, I'm terrible at. I always do the long outro. So, come on, you Gunners, up the Arsenal. Let's get that win on Sunday. And it's terrible that we're always the last. We're always the last game on Sunday. That's terrible. All right, we're out of here. Come on, you Gunners, up the Arsenal.
Go, you guys.
Good guys. Take care.